but most of it is a vlog, and they're vlogging in front of a school saying, this is our high school located in our town. It's our worst enemy. It's our nemesis. There will be a series of missions followed by a big-ass mission called 0 Day. The movie is about two high school students, Calvin or Cal, and Andre, and they're going to be school shooters. It's very clearly inspired by Columbine. Even the two characters, it seems like Cal is based on Dylan and Andre being Eric. There is a lot of praise around the film centered around how real it felt, with movie clips often being mistaken for real footage from Columbine, which is conflicting. But people state that they watched the movie and they've become even more passionate about gun reform because it's left such an unsettling feeling in their hearts. I imagine that's the ultimate mission of the filmmakers. However, a lot of Columbiners have created a miserable subculture around 0 Day, the indie film as well. They would make fan art, fan edits. I mean, granted, it's a fictional movie, but it's so closely resembling the Columbine tragedy that I find it hard to understand how you can make fan edits of these two fictional characters and how you can become obsessed with them, especially when they're still school shooters at the end of the day, even in the fictional plot. Like, nobody watches Criminal Minds and starts making fan edits of one of the pedophiles depicted in this fictional show just because it's fictional. It's still unsettling. Mm-hmm. And again, this is not the group of people who felt like this movie was deeply touching in a sense of it was so startling, it was so poignant, and they fell in love with the actors, the individuals who depicted the characters. It's not that. These are fans who fixate on Cal and Andre as the school attackers. They don't care about the actors. They don't care about how the film made them feel. They just want to make fan edits of them. And it's primarily just offensive wannabe edgelord slop.
So you say the two girls wanted to bring back
Adam Lanza, who's the Sandy Hook shooter.
So they just love every school shooters. Is that right?
Yeah.
And that whole role playing, is that just like a thing they do, to like a game they commonly play?
It seems like it. It seems like this is how they talk on Discord, and a lot of people have categorized them as LARPers.
What's that?
It's like faker, like people trying to be edgy, but you're not actually edgy. But I would imagine that most people who idolize these killers are all LARPers, or primarily, because why are you idolizing them? It's just bizarre. Yeah. It's really weird because I think everyone dislikes Isabel Valdez and Lois Lippert, or it seems, generally speaking, most people dislike them because of what they've done. But weirdly, even in their community that they came from, where they glorify killers, they're getting hated on, because I went into the weird depths of the darkness on the internet, and they're getting hated on over there because they're like, they're little fucking faker LARPers. And I'm like, you guys are all weird. And within this niche of 0 Day fans, they have a group of people that like fan art and a group of people that will make fan art for these people. Artists who would draw fan art of Cal and Andre, and there was one that was somewhat well known on Tumblr by the name of Fox Fever. Fox Fever is Lois Lippert. She actually has an extensive portfolio of drawing 0 Day fan art, so the indie film fan art of Cal and Andre, loosely based off of Eric and Dylan.
So what exactly does she draw? Like,
she just draws she's... Okay, I'm just going to try to describe some of her art. I'm going to try to put some up in the video podcast, but it's pretty graphic, some of them. She will draw them making out. I mean, she's objectively not a bad artist, but her depictions are quite dark. With Andre, he has blood dripping out of his mouth. He's stabbing his own stomach. Another shows Andre wearing a shirt that reads Natural Selection, which is what one of the Columbine attackers wore. Another shows Cal going down on Andre. Another one of them is of them hugging, kissing, where both of their mouths are filled with blood. They're harming each other with knives and finding satisfaction from it. One, they're full on having intimate relations. And one where it appears that they are lovingly looking into each other's eyes while blood is spewing in the back, which you can kind of piece together that might be taken from a moment of inspiration, perhaps, of how they were looking at each other while innocent lives are being taken by them.
It's time for Mainly Tub's Hot Tub Sauna Swim Spa and Cold Plunge Blowout Sale. Shop the largest selection in New England for a limited time. We're bringing back 0% interest for 60 months financing on hot spring and caldera spas, Tilo saunas, and endless pool swim spas. Plus, enjoy savings of up to 20% off barrel saunas. Shop Mainly Tub's huge Hot Tub Sauna Swim Spa and Cold Plunge Blowout Sale. Now at their 7 New England showrooms. Hurry, 0% APR for 60 months ends July 27th.
Vistaprint is where your ideas become can't-miss signage that makes people stop, look, and shop. With vibrant banners.
Another one that depicts Cal and Andre dead on the ground, but that drawing is very reminiscent of the Columbine killer's death photo that has been circulating. Yeah. Fox Fever, Lois Lippert, would even animate her drawings. One shows Andre sitting there looking conflicted while Cal is screaming at him, "Why does it hurt to love you?" Andre responds, "I don't know." So it's really not that deep, but another drawing comes with the words, "You can't cure somebody who has nothing wrong with them." She also liked to draw Elliot Rogers, Jeffrey Dahmer, one of the Academy maniacs, which is a Russian killer. So again, just like wannabe edgelord slop. But 14-year-old Lois Lippert has also drawn very personal images of Isabel and John, the classmate that they were allegedly going to kill together. One drawing shows John sitting on the floor and his body language looks like he's backing away, trying to scoot away. And Isabel is holding on to him, caressing his face and telling him he looks like a porcelain doll.
How do we know who exactly she's drawing though?
Oh, because they tell the police.
Oh,
yeah.
They explain their art?
Yeah. Yeah. And you can kind of tell the facial features. So Cal and Andre are drawn in a very specific way all the time. With John, there's slight discrepancies where it's sometimes hard to tell whether she's drawing Adam Lanza or John, but most of the time it's John, the actual student that they're trying to kill. Another drawing shows Isabel being hugged, and on one side it's Adam Lanza, and on the other side it's John, and they're both kissing her on the cheek and the head. Then there's another one of John with a rope. Another one shows Isabel holding John, and the caption reads, "Take your hands off my neck and hold on to the ghost of my body." They're just trying to be dark and introspective and poetic.
Isabel is the artist?
No.
No. Okay, so she is drawing her friend?
Yeah, Lois.
Not herself.
No, Lois Redhair is drawing Isabel with John, and Isabel is the one that wants to kill John. Lois is just kind of here for the ride. She's like, "I'll help you," essentially.
So she's
Allegedly.
not like drawing herself
No.
at all?
No.
Interesting. Okay.
So she's drawing Isabel, she's drawing John, and she does take a lot of requests. There was apparently a DM from people who had messaged Lois Lippert, red-haired girl, the artist previously, and were like, "Hey, can you draw this for me?" And she would say, "You have to go through Jimmy first," which is Isabel. So it seems like she does take requests. Then another one is Isabel holding a guy's face to her chest. It looks like John, and she's hugging him. He looks very alarmed and not excited to be there. It's just odd. Another one depicts Isabel holding up a very thin, frail John up against the wall, like holding him up in the air while she's admiring him. Others show Isabel reaching down there, doing things to John. Another shows her performing intimate acts on Adam Lanza. One of the alarming drawings shows Isabel and John dead on the ground, but the way they're laying on the ground, the clothing that they're wearing, the positioning of their bodies, where their arms are laying, it's basically, again, the Columbine shooter's death photo, because both self-exited in the library that day. It's a real photo, but it's drawn, and it's replaced with Isabel and John instead of Eric and Dylan. Back in the police car, Isabel turns to Lois, the artist, the red-haired girl. They also saw the drawings. The ones of Isabel and John, the student that they were trying to allegedly kill, right? And the ones of Isabel and Adam Lanza that Lois drew all of this for. And Lois doesn't even seem that alarmed. She just says,
"They also saw the drawings."
Oh yeah, I told them about that. I told them like, yeah, I did some weird drawings. I didn't actually tell the full thing till like 10:30, I think.
Yeah, they made me tell everything that was in the drawings.
Oh, can you remind me of the drawings? Let me just know what they went through.
Dude.
Did they comment on it? They were like, "This is really good." Did they say?
Yeah, they said, "You're quite the artist," and I was like, "No, that's my friend Lois's."
Once they settle back down from giggling, Isabel looks at Lois and she's like, "Dude, we were supposed to spread our story through around the TCC though."
What's TCC?
TCC is typically known as the true crime community, but this is not. Like, I know if you're watching this video, you're like, oh, I've never heard of TCC. There's a reason for it. We're not talking about the Redditors who are on Unsolved Mysteries, who are on 48 Hours, who are watching Dateline, going into rabbit holes. That's not what you typically refer to as TCC. TCC is more aligned with people who glorify mass murders, typically the ones that attack schools, to the point that it's almost synonymous with the Columbine community, which is basically Columbiners. To give you another example, I was falling into some weird rabbit holes. Like, they're the ones that are making, you know, the Vietnamese butcher case that we covered recently. They're making fan romantic edits of the killer and the victim falling in love whilst in the act of the crime. You could be listening to this podcast. You could be watching Dateline and never see a TCC edit in your lifetime on any of your algorithms because there's not necessarily an overlap. To give you an idea, one person comments, I remember when I was younger, I tried to join TCC thinking it was internet sleuths, but it was just a bunch of people saying mass shooters were hot, and I was very disappointed. Another one writes, the TCC is so fucking lame these days. I remember when people actually studied cases and had genuine interest in criminology. These days, it's just, ooh, I want XYZ murderer to breed me. They make edits of Adam Lanza saying, I love Adam. He's so silly and quirky. They like to justify killers and their actions with blanket statements like, but we all make mistakes. He was just being quirky. They'll edit killers with halos as if they're in heaven. Some of them will even go as far to write about how they think one of the killers, and I'm not going to name them specifically because I don't really care to name more than necessarily in this episode, but they write about how one of these random school attackers would make a good boyfriend because, by the way, this is someone who killed over a dozen students, but they write, first, I think he would be very clingy and affectionate. He literally wouldn't ever get his head turned by any other girl. He'd be so focused and set on his girlfriend. This is a positive and also maybe a negative. It may be overwhelming and overbearing sometimes. He'd be quirky for sure, which I guess is a good thing. Depends on how you define quirky. He would have very different interests. I'm sure he would be very different from the usual guys that you would meet. I think he would sometimes come off as aggressive in heated moments, but then afterwards apologize profusely to his girlfriend in case he upset her. I think personally speaking, he'd be a nice boyfriend, but it would take someone open-minded and caring to understand that he's different. And different isn't necessarily bad. He's a mass killer. Another one writes on a picture of Dylan, one of the Columbine killers, I will never understand the girls that turn Dylan down because damn, I'd beg God on my knees to even be near him. Those girls don't even know how lucky they truly were. There's even Dilrick shippers. These are Dylan and Eric shippers who... I can't believe these words are coming out of my mouth, who shipped Dylan and Eric, the Columbine killers. And then there's Adam Lanza, who, to bypass all of the algorithms on social media, lots of people will do like hashtag Adam Lasagna, which is what they call Adam Lanza, and they post so that they don't get banned on these platforms. He's the Sandy Hook shooter. He killed 20 first graders and 6 educators and then self-exited when law enforcement arrived at the school. One person writes, whenever I think too hard about Adam dying in the fetal position, it makes me want to throw up. He was seeking comfort and connection even in the very end despite denying himself of it in life. Sometimes I think about who the person was to prepare Adam for cremation and if they treated his body with respect. It's going to sound freaky, but I wish I could have had just a moment with his body, not to do anything gross, but just to feel how frail he was and how he would never had even had the chance to get better, even if he didn't go through with his plan. Again, same killer who killed 26 people, 27 if you count his mother that he killed before going to Sandy Hook. He's also the one that had this very rambling video essay rant. It's like 6 hours long. It was miserable to get through, but he says, if you've ever known to have engaged in a pedophile relationship with a child, you're instantly imprisoned for prolonged periods. You're brutalized in prison, and people actually celebrate that as if it's a good thing. And then if you're lucky enough to escape prison with your life, you're on a sex offender registry. You're possibly castrated. You're tracked with a GPS device in some instances. And there are just so many issues that PDF files that everyone seems to think it's not a problem at all. It's somehow justified that they're treated in that manner, and you have to develop such extensive arguments just to refute that delusion that somehow having with children is harmful to them innately. Basically, he's a PDF file defender. And people are commenting, he's so intelligent and cute. He was so smart. I miss him every second of my life. I cry over Adam at least twice a week. Isabel Valdez was one of those people who liked Adam Lanza. Her Facebook cover photo is a memorial banner for Sandy Hook, which is a sign that reads, Sandy Hook Elementary School, we will remember. Previously, it was Columbine High School, Heart, Sandy Hook Elementary School. Her Facebook bio reads, gun safety advocate, 12/13/2012, 28, dove emoji. 28 dove emoji, she's referring to Sandy Hook, and 28, that includes Adam Lanza, which nobody includes him in that count. Some people don't even include his mom in that count because they feel that she failed to get her son the help that he clearly needed and more or less gave him easy access to firearms. But Isabel is counting Adam Lanza, 28 dove emoji. According to police documents, she tells the assistant principal that the morning that she's caught, because of this whole tip, like a few hours before she killed John, that her victim is John because he's perfect. He reminds her of Adam Lanza, and that she heard voices telling her that if she kills John, she and Adam Lanza would have this blood bond, and it would bring Adam Lanza back to life. The police report reads, Isabel went on to say that after she killed John, she was going to make a blood ritual for Adam Lanza. I asked Isabel what was her intent when she said she was going to make a blood ritual. Isabel stated she was going to take the photos she brought of John, place them against his body. Isabel stated that she was going to try and wipe John's blood, even though he's bleeding. And then she stated that she asked Lois for an extra shirt so she could put it on John's body. No one knows what any of this means. Like, this feels like the weirdest, bizarrely strung together crime. Isabel believes this blood ritual would show her devotion to Lanza. Isabel stated that she heard voices saying that if she carried out killing John, Lanza's voice would come back to her. Isabel stated that she used to hear Adam Lanza's voice, but no longer does, and she misses Lanza's voice quite a bit, and it's disappointing that she never got that connection again. And she believes that if she kills John, Lanza would come back to her and she wouldn't be alone. Isabel advised that while she was sitting in class, one of her online friends pleaded with her not to follow through with her plan, but she was intent on killing John.
So do we know what happened? Someone tipped the police and the police just showed up at the school and they...
Yes. So someone tips the police and the administrators also get the same tip later. Isabel and Lois have already showed up at the school. They're going through their classes as normal. The whole plan is to take place after second period. But before then, they're like, we got to sharpen the knife. So they've already gone to the bathroom, scoped it out, tried sharpening the knife, and then they went back to class. Administrators get the tip and they're like, we got to pull Isabel out of class.
How do they know it's Isabel?
Because at the very end, it said her government name, I think, is like Isabel, right? So they pull Isabel out of class. They bring her into the administrator's office, and the assistant principal is asking her a shit ton of questions before the police even get there. The police are on their way. They make it there, and they arrest her and Lois.
So they put Isabel out, and Isabel just straight up start telling them everything.
Yeah. And she's like, all the stuff is in my backpack.
And I am going to kill him.
Yeah. And then she was like, because I wanted to bring back Adam Lanza. They immediately get placed in the back of the police car where for the next 30 minutes, they do damage that I don't think a defense attorney could ever undo.
Do you believe they were going to go through with it?
Yeah. Isabel even clarifies in her written statement to the police later that the whole blood oath, because, I mean, not that making sense would make it better or understandable or justifiable, obviously not, but it's so poorly executed and thought out, it doesn't even make sense to people. So she's trying to clarify, well, the blood oath was going to happen because she was going to drink John's blood and then smear his blood on her body. That would be the blood oath. Even in her written statement, she writes like this: I was planning to possibly smear his blood on myself and or drink it. I wanted to take photos afterwards, then leave his body in the bathroom and give the camera SD card to Lois Lippert. I was going to do it because I heard voices telling me that if I did it to show my devotion, Adam would come back and speak to me like before. Heart. She's writing hearts in this police written statement. John also didn't do anything. He had no interactions with Isabel. He never spoke with her. There was no conflict. They never fought. Like, he is just picked as a victim purely because Isabel felt like he looked like Adam and that Adam is Isabel's soulmate. The police report states that from September of 2025 to January of 2026, so the span of a few months, Isabel has been diligently stalking John. She's been taking pictures of him. Prosecutors eventually find over 200 photographs of John in Isabel's possession. According to the police report, I asked Isabel when she started taking the photos of John. September. I asked her, where she was when she took all these photos, and she said that they were all taken at school. She would wait in the areas where she knew that he would be and would sometimes go there and just take photos waiting for him to show up. She would wait for John to pass her, and she never tried to make it known that she's taking pictures of him, so he would have his back turned to her and she would take all these photos. But it continues. And they're asked, what did you do with the photos? Did you post them anywhere? She's like, yeah. I posted them on my TikTok. My TikTok handle is I Love Sandy Hook.
You're kidding me.
You're up late online shopping. You finally spot exactly what you want, and then you see it, that purple shop pay button. One tap, and you are checked out of there in seconds. Notes with, I want to say Lois, most likely Lois, or it could be really any one of her other classmates. But Isabel writes, do you think he actually switched out of this class? Like, I feel like she wouldn't have even put the ticket. Like, maybe he's just skipping because I creeped him out. So she's like, is he skipping class because I creeped him out? Or did he switch out of this class because I creeped him out? And she's like, most likely he is. I doubt it. He doesn't even know my name. I mean, probably didn't even read it. Like, I just keep thinking, I need to stop thinking he'll probably just avoid me because it wasn't that weird. So we don't have any context, but it's pretty clear that she's like, oh, I'm kind of creeping this guy out. Someone writes back on the note, I honestly think he's just skipping, but maybe he's in the process of getting something against you. I hope he doesn't get a restraining order. Isabel writes, no, he would have already told his mom. I've been doing it for like 2 weeks. Most likely when he turns around sometimes. So this sounds like taking pictures. Like I do it when he's turned around. Isabel's friend writes back, but maybe he did notice all the other times you were following and filming him when he turned around, like staring at us? No, like when I get personal shots when I'm alone. It's just when he's turned around. On her Tumblr account, Isabel used to write things about John, like, he smiles like Dylan, looks like Adam, is absolute perfection. He's the perfect example of what can be made. He looks like a doll. I adore him. I'm in the worst parasocial relationship with him, and Fox has been drawing me art of us. I've been following him around and whatnot. But she tells the officers that she resisted killing him because, quote, I first came up with the plan approximately 3 months ago, but I resisted the urge to follow through with the plan, and I would just tell myself, I have to stop thinking like that. But it clearly doesn't work because January 23rd, 2026, she is arrested for trying to kill John. Inside Isabel Valdez's backpack, along with the knife, the rag, the trash bags, the gloves, the Clorox wipes, there's a little note left behind, and it reads, Dear Mama and Papa, I'm sorry for what I'm gonna do. Hopefully you will find this paper. I want you guys to know that none of it is your fault or anyone else's in that, in that matter. I chose to do this myself, for myself and Adam Lanza. They told me that Adam would come back to speak with me if I did this for him. Adam Lanza wanted it. I think it's a fair and beautiful sense of devotion on my behalf. I love Adam Lanza. We're soulmates, just waiting to be reunited once more. I want you guys to know that you are the most perfect parents ever. I'm sorry I could not be a better child. I've known there's been something wrong with me since I was a little kid. I just never showed it. And I'm sorry. I was never really shy. I just hated people. And I was aware of how disgusting everyone is. Being forced to talk was torture. These ramblings are very reminiscent of Adam Lanza, so I'm not entirely sure if this is genuinely how she felt or if this is how she fell into this like TCC community and tried to embody this aesthetic of outcast. I never liked humanity. Mankind is doomed and society has all these values that don't mean anything and we're just imposing values upon others, and morality is not even objective. Morality just doesn't exist as a concept. I don't know if she just like listened to the fucking 5.5 hour ramblings of Adam Lanza that are incoherent most of the time and don't make good sense, but I don't know if this is how she truly felt or if this is furthering the aesthetic that she wants to be a part of. She says, I pretended to be a socialite. just not the word to be used in that context, but to make you guys happy, because I love seeing you guys happy. It was one of the only things that made me happy. Over the years, I've just lost control over myself and my emotions. Whenever I told someone I hated you guys, it was a pure lie. I'm sorry for ever hurting you, and I deserve what's coming for me, as I am also disgusting, cruel, and useless. Again, these are very reminiscent of the Columbine killers and Adam Lanza. Well, actually, maybe the Columbine killers, they believe themselves to be above humankind. But perhaps in an attempt to get Isabel to have some remorse, the assistant principal, before she's arrested, initially asked her, did you consider how your parents or even how John's parents would feel if you went through with this? They would be sad, but I don't really care. Did you consider the consequences, like of what happens to you if you go through with this? Jail or psych ward, but it doesn't matter. I was still gonna do it. I want to be with Adam Lanza. She later admits that last night before school she did cry in the shower, but it was, quote, because she wasn't crying because of herself or her actions, but because of how it was gonna affect others, you know? But also at the same time, she was thinking, whatever, what's done is done. That's what she says. Isabel states that she only feels bad for her parents because they've been great and they tried their best. So back in the back of the police car, Isabel and Lois are ranting about how the police were grilling them. Red-haired Lois Lippert, the 14-year-old, right? She's more so the accomplice.
So after
Yes.
police came, before they were taken into the police car, they already went through a round of questioning in the school?
Oh, yeah. And then as they're walking out, both handcuffed together, they're like, hey, best friend.
From school to the police car?
Yeah. Yeah. I think the only time they look a little serious is when Isabel Valdez is being read her charges, which is attempted murder.
When was that?
In the school hallway. And she looks a little serious. But not really. She just looks like a little somber.
There's a whole tape from the school all the way to the police car?
There's like 7 minutes from inside the school. There's a few minutes going to the police car, and then there's about 40, but 10 minutes of those are after the. So like 36 minutes of them in the, because we did a FOIA request. There's about 36 minutes of them in the car talking, yapping. And they really don't like to sit in silence. So it's like a solid 30 minutes of yapping. And if you're watching the video podcast on YouTube, I'm actually going to dump the entire body cam footage clip at the end of the episode because I've kind of broken it up into parts. But if you want to see the whole thing in chronological order, it's going to be at the very end. So Isabel and Lois Lippert are sitting in the back, and Lois, red-haired 14-year-old girl, the accomplice, is saying, I told them the important stuff, and then they came back and they were like, I'm getting really pissed off. You're not telling me everything. And I was like, I swear that's all I remember. So I just had to sit there for a few minutes just trying to remember every fucking thing and every fucking little detail. And I was like, oh, so there are these images of Adam Lanza. Isabel cuts in. Dude, I forgot what to say halfway through my interview. Yeah, that was me for most of my interview. Well, actually, half the interview was just me being silent and not doing anything because I was hoping I could cling on to the like, you have the right to remain silent. But low-key, that didn't work. That didn't really work. Isabel's like, I know, because it's like they're just going to use it against me in court. Like, hey, why do you have these drives with these little boy? Like hard drives with pictures of this little boy. And then she goes, hey, why do you have these drives of these little boy? Sorry.
Oh, they're gonna use it against me in court. Hey, why you have these drives of this little boy? Sorry.
Yeah. Lois is like, he's not a little boy. He's older than you. No, he's not. Well, oh yeah. Yeah, he's older than you. It's not some little boy. They can't say this little boy. This older boy. This older boy who's abusing me. So now they're giggling and coming up with this idea of trying to say that the victim was abusing them, which he in no world was. And Isabel finds it funny. She's like, yeah, I think in my dreams he told me he wanted me to kill him, so I think it's only fair. Yeah. Oh my God. I almost laughed and almost peed myself. This becomes a reoccurring theme where Lois keeps saying that she almost peed herself. So she's like, I almost laughed so hard, I almost peed myself. She's not really laughing in these moments. And I will say, if you watch the clip in its entirety that I'm putting at this end of the video, you just see Lois get filled with more and more regret. Like both of them. The energy gets more tense. They're still joking around and laughing, but I think it's dawning on them very slowly what's happening.
Very slowly.
Yeah, very slowly. Very, very slowly. Because it should have dawned on them before they even got into the car.
So you said there are two cops in the front.
Yes.
they can clearly hear it.
Yeah, because they later talk to them. They interject in one of their conversations. Yeah, we're going to get there. Yeah, the cops are clearly hearing this. I personally think that the cops strategically put them in the back of the police car together so that they could have this conversation because, of course, they're...
Yeah, the more, the better.
Yeah, and then I think they took a longer route. Because I don't think that it would take 36 minutes for them to get from the school to the local police department.
Wow, yeah, that's true. So do you think they just didn't know there was a camera recording in the car?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Right?
And that's why this is where it gets really weird. So there are lots of people in the TCC community. And again, this is not me saying like, oh, I'm part of the TCC community, so I know what they're saying. This is me saying like, I was diving into the TCC community to see what it's about. And people were saying, oh, they're not real TCCers because they don't know that there's cameras in the back of the police car. But also real TCCers, from what I can tell, they still like to post edits of Adam Lasagna with eccentric Europunk music in the background with rainbow edits because it's so quirky. And their whole thing is like, why does me posting rainbow edits of school shooters, does that make me dangerous? Yeah, Becky, it fucking makes you dangerous. I don't know what else to say. Now, Lois says with a bit of regret in her voice, dude.
Hotels.com is where you go to choose from hundreds of thousands of hotels and earn rewards on every stay. It's exactly what it sounds like. Unlike catfish, which is not what it sounds like. Hotels.com. It's all in the name.
The bike shed is for the culture. There's a restaurant, a barber shop.
I should have gotten my diagnosis before this. I've been talking about that, being like, yeah, I should go to a psychiatrist or something and actually fucking get diagnosed and shit. I should have gotten it before all this shit happened, and then I would have some sort of thing to clean it up. Isabella's like, dude, I thought I was gonna get sent to the psych ward. That's why I was so excited about everything. Isabella explains to Lois that she just regrets telling the officers everything.
But I shouldn't have told them all this shit. Okay, so I was there, and then they were asking me about the swatting incident that happened.
So, yeah, she was trying to get people swatted. We're going to get there in a second. And what happened, and I started crying because I thought that, they were going to feel bad for me and send me to the psych ward. Because I was like, I thought about hurting somebody. Yeah, I thought about hurting the boy. And then they saw right through my shit. And then they pulled out, the bag from my backpack. I had to tell them everything that was inside. Later, she mentions, dude, I should have told them that. I was going to tell them yesterday. I was going to say, oh, yeah, I'm doing all this stuff because I want to be a police officer.
Please, I wanted to be a police officer. Please.
And then she pretends to be the fake imaginary police officer she's saying this to. And she's like, no, sorry. So she's like, I should have told them that I want to be a police officer. Nope, I'm sorry. Okay. Like, this is how they talk. That's the tone in which they talk. Now, there's a lot to complain about in the back of this police car as well. Lois rants about how cold it was in the room when they were talking to her. It was so cold in that room. I know, dude. They had me sitting there and I was dude, they took away my chocolate. Isabel, because remember, Isabel is the one that primarily wants to kill John. Mm-hmm. Isabel had asked Lois, the little artist, to bring chocolate and Dr. Pepper. Mm-hmm. Okay, Lois brings it, gives it to her. And now Isabel is like, the chocolate you gave me? They took away my chocolate. And Lois goes, no. I was able to eat a part of it. It was a part of the big bar, but then that was it.
Dude, they took away my chocolate. No! I was able to eat a part of it, a part of the big bar.
Lois is so upset. And she's like, bro, I wanted to come back to second period so I could have nibbled on some of it with you. That was my main goal. Some netizens have found it ironic that the two are friends because Isabel Valdez is kind of a bigger girl, I guess is how you would describe her. And then Lois Lippert, she had a Twitter account that heavily promotes, is pro-Anna, pro-ED, engages in, quote unquote, fatspo. Fatspo is basically described as, quote, fatspo is when people with EDs use a picture of a person bigger than themselves as inspiration to continue with their eating disorder or not becoming fat like the person in the picture. So some netizens found it ironic and they made it a big joke of whether or not Lois Lippert used her own friend Isabel Valdez as fatspo. Essentially everything about this case makes you want to spiral into a depressive state. Just every little rabbit hole leads somewhere worse. But on Lois Lippert's Twitter account, she would post a lot of pro-Anna things, as well as she would document throwing up in the toilet, and then she would stick her hand in the toilet bowl and play with her throw up like it was slime and post videos of it. There's also an unverified Tumblr account, and I cannot tell you if this is real, okay, but apparently this is Isabel's unverified Tumblr account where she posts, I love being fat. Everyone is significantly smaller than me, and I love small people. I love small boys. I love the thought of beating them up and breaking their bones and then just watching their bodies bruise. I want to touch them all over. I want to see them resist. Probably the first time I felt these, dare I say, erotic pleasures was in or around 5th or 6th grade. I remember in 6th grade, I would go up to people and hug them tightly. I loved feeling them push me away and struggle. I loved the way they yelled at me after. We can't be certain that this is Isabel's account, but it's in tune with the picture of her holding up John, almost like she's about to slam him up against the wall. I don't think that there's any debate that both of these girls are struggling with various mental health issues, but I do think a lot of young girls at that age are. They don't go and try to resurrect a school shooter. These girls, they even gaggle about what it must have been like for John. Lois is giggling, imagine being pulled out of class. And yeah, some girl was planning on killing you. He's probably gonna be like he's got to be told. Like, they can't. And Isabella's like, yeah, I wrote him a note. And I was like,
yeah, I'm not guilty for my actions, but, I was like, I don't feel guilty for my actions, but I feel guilty on how you were gonna feel. Because honestly, I don't fucking care.
She gave him a letter?
She wrote him a note, but I don't think it was never given to him. Isabel giggles and says, so are we gonna become one of those lesbian couples now in jail? Lois looks at her. Yeah, and you could be the butch. And they're giggling. And Isabel's like, yeah, hey, this is my bitch. Stay away. Yeah.
They're doing that much in 30 minutes?
Yeah. And then
they don't
there's...
even catch a break and think about what's about to happen?
No. And then there's silence. Which the lesbian couple love does not last very long, because when talking with the officers, Isabel already ratted Lois out. The police officer is even writing in his report, because usually when you have teenagers and they're best friends and they're trying to commit a crime, I would say that there's maybe, 3 hours in which they might resist ratting each other out. But the police officer writes, Isabel abruptly stated that Lois helped her sharpen the knife. Isabel is explaining to the officers and the assistant principal that they were in the bathroom trying to sharpen the knife. And according to Isabel, they ran the knife back and forth along the metal pipe in the bathroom. And then they were trying to use the knife to cut Isabel's shirt to determine if it was sharp enough to do the crime. Lois then attempted to cut her stomach in an effort to see if the knife could cut her skin. Isabel stated that Lois told her that she didn't think the knife was going to be able to cut through because it couldn't cut her stomach. But it's not like Isabel really needs to quote-unquote rat out Lois when there's already quite a bit of digital evidence against both of them. Isabel's plan was to either slit John's throat or stab him in the stomach. There was no getaway plan. Then she was going to smoke a cigarette in the bathroom before going to jail and sprinkle flowers on his body or to his funeral. It's kind of unclear which one. But Isabel, the night before, had been messaging Lois over Discord saying things like, it's going to be over by tomorrow. If you have some gloves, bring them for me. Bring latex ones. I'm bringing a trash bag, wipes, and some other things. I'm gonna go away anyway. I've incriminating shit on my phone. Holy shit. I'm gonna make a blood ritual for Adam Lanza, LMAO. Everyone who prayed on my downfall is getting their wish. I hugged my parents extra tight today. I feel kind of bad for what's coming. He was at fault because he never got redacted to talk to me. If I had him, I wouldn't have been like this. Why? Why, John? Why? Why redacted? Why? I need to break my hard drive later. Do you have any extra white shirts that I could use? And the two of them are also, Isabel and Lois, are reportedly married on Facebook. What? Yeah, because you know how you can just marry someone. But that's not the important part. The important part is their anniversary date is April 22nd, 1992, which is an oddly specific date. So I tried to figure it out, and it's not the date of Sandy Hook or Columbine. It's actually Adam Lanza's birthday. But in the back of the police car, Isabel is again ranting about how the police are treating her like she's this dangerous criminal. And she says,
dude, they had me going out to the bathroom, and they had this lady standing in the stall, and they had 2 other people.
In the stall?
No, not in the... Yeah, one of them was standing in the stall. The other 2 were outside waiting. You think I'm gonna be able to fucking run away?
So Isabel is making a joke at, I guess, her physique. I got too scared to ask them to go to the bathroom. I low-key still have to go. So, by the way, Lois Lippert kind of talks like this the entire time. And Isabel turns to her. I only went twice because they searched me every time and they made me take off my shoes and my socks off. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't ask them. I don't want to do all that. You gonna bend over and cough for me? Bend over and cough for you? Is that what they do? Yeah, they look at your asshole and see if anything comes out. Isabel complains at how uncomfortable it is to be in the back of the police car and states,
Dude, I should have done it in the morning.
so now she's saying in the back of this reported police car that she should have killed him in the morning and not waited till after second period, because if she had done it in the morning, she would have been able to kill him. And Lois is like, yeah, dude, he was right there. I was following behind him.
What is happening?
Yeah.
Don't rush cherry dark chocolate. That's Dies.
Isabel also talks about how when they were interviewing her, she kept laughing, even though it's not funny, but quote, they kept on saying 6-7. Oh, I laughed at 6-7, dude, because they were talking about my grades and stuff when it first started, and they were like, yeah, was the 6th or 7th grade? I did the 6-7 behind my back. So she's handcuffed, and she said she's doing 6-7.
This is like, I don't even know what is happening.
Yeah. Lois finds this so funny and she says, stop making me laugh. Lois explains later that she did mention to one of her friends that Isabel might try to do something on Friday, which is vague, and she reassures Isabel she's probably thinking that you're gonna self-exit. Oh, that's stupid. I'm not self-exiting. Then in a voice that would indicate maybe it's from a meme or something, but she says, killing yourself is for R words. She says the R word. I'm not a stupid R word that gives up. Please.
Killing yourself is for retards. I'm not a stupid retard that gives up. Please. I think I am retarded though.
I am R-worded though. Fuck. Lois tries to comfort her. Not a stupid R-word though. Aw, thanks. One of the most damning pieces of evidence against Isabel is a journal entry that's written in the style of a bad movie plot where the killer fesses up to the murder, hides the note for it to be found by the main character at the end in the bottom of the underwear drawer. And it reads, it was just like any other normal day. I swear nothing seemed off until I remembered him. Oh, John, how much I loved you. Today was finally the day. You're so worth it. Fuck. We were leaving second period. I grabbed him. I don't know what happened, but I just started talking. Oh, you're so beautiful. The cutest boy around. I loved him dearly. I would ruin my life for him, and that is very much what I was doing. I was able to get my hands on some chloroform. It knocked him out cold. It was absolutely perfect. I was already in the bathroom with him. He hadn't woken up yet, so I was just waiting. He was so small, so precious. I'd been waiting for this for a long time. Slowly, he woke up. I saw those beautiful eyes I much adored. Finally, up close, he was absolutely perfection. Hi, sweetheart, I said without thinking. He looked extremely disturbed. I don't blame him. Who wouldn't? LOL. He didn't speak. He just looked in terror. I pulled the knife out of my bag and held it to his throat. I saw the fear. I saw his breath hitch. It gave me more adrenaline. And she spells adrenaline A-D-R-E-N-A-L-Y-N. Adrenaline. I pulled my phone out and started recording him. Can you smile for the camera? I held the knife closer to his throat. I watched as he forced himself to smile just for me. And that is where she ends this weird, bizarre note. It's presented as if she wrote it after the fact in this dramatized narrative form.
Right, and the cop found the note.
Yeah, it's like fanfic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the police found it and locked it.
Yeah, and they're like, okay, well, you wrote this note. You wrote one to your parents detailing your exact motive. So, and you had a lot of the supplies that you're talking about.
Yeah. So what is Lois's whole thing? Like, what's her motive? Does she have a motive? Does she even care? What is she doing there?
I think she doesn't care. I mean, I think she clearly is dealing with lots of mental health issues, and I'm not saying that as some sort of excuse because, yeah, so did I at 14. She seems more like the follower, though I don't really like to give those labels. But it's Isabel is the one with the plan. I think if anything, maybe Lois thought it would be cool that she would go down in notoriety, or maybe she thought that Isabel would never go through with it. But if Lois was the one to be like, oh, well, you can't do that, then maybe she wouldn't be seen as cool by her TCC community. And again, this is not to diminish any of the impact that Lois Lippert had. It seems as if Isabel is the one more so spearheading this. She's the one with very strong reasoning of why she felt she wanted to kill John. But I think it's also just as disgusting that Lois is like, oh, I'm doing it for the thrill and for the fun, and like maybe I'll be known in the TCC community. Regardless, despicable. And I think one of the reasons that the investigators moved so fast on this tip was, well, it was their job. They had to. But also, they've had problems with Isabel prior to this. In fact, the police were at Isabel's house Thursday night for something else.
The night before?
Yeah, the night before.
Okay.
Okay, so the night before, the police go to Isabel Valdez's house because she'd been trying to do these like swatting calls on people. There was like 3 different swatting incidents. I think she was trying to swat the school or swat an individual at the school. It's a little bit unclear because they're all minors, but there's swatting incidents. Just know that. She's like trying to get someone swatted. They come, they grab her phone. Now, Thursday night, they go back to her house and they're like, hey, we have your phone. We could get a warrant and there's like so much paperwork, or you could just sign this consent form. Let us go through your phone. So they sign the consent form. The police leave Thursday night. They get a tip in early hours of Friday morning, and then it's like the last few sentences are, oh, I think their name is Isabel.
So after the police took her phone,
Yes.
she's on Discord messaging
On her computer, yes.
on her computer,
Yes.
messaging her friend, saying, I'm gonna do this now. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. She felt like she was already going to go away for the swatting incident. So she might as well do it now. Now is the only time that she can do this. Lois even mentioned to her that she's anxious planning and maybe she shouldn't go through with it. But Isabel was like, no, I'm going to go through with it. And she even tells another friend about it Thursday night. I think she told, maybe it was just one, could have been more, but that one person does end up sending in that anonymous tip.
I mean, that tip really saved John's life.
Yeah. No, John's mom has done an interview where she said the person, I mean, she knows who made the tip and she's spoken to that child and she says the child is her hero.
The hero of this story is the tipster. That person is the hero of my life story. And I've told them that.
Now, Isabel tells Lois in the car, in the back of the police car, I did write a note to my parents. Did you write one to your parents? Lois is like, no, you should have. They said I'm going to be able to contact my parents when I get there. Me too. I haven't talked to my parents yet. I don't know if my parents even know what's going on. They don't. They haven't contacted mine either. My mom's gonna be yelling at me through the phone like, what are you gonna do? Why are you trying to kill this fucking kid? Lois is like, I think my mom's gonna be okay. I low-key think she's probably gonna fuck with it. When they asked me like, do you really want to lie? Would your parents really want you to lie for Jimmy? Yeah, they would. Yeah.
When they asked me, like, do you really want to lie? Would your parents really want you lying for Jamie? Like, yeah, they would. Like, yeah.
And then remember earlier in the car ride while they were role-playing Columbine, Isabel looked out the window, gets distracted by the building, and she says, hey, my sister goes to therapy there. Then she starts going on this like very bizarre trauma dump where she says, my mom's going to see the police car and she's going to be like, damn. And then when I call her, I'm going to be like, hey, mama, that was me in the police car. You see me? And she says, you know, my mom was telling me about this morning because she was talking about somebody. And then she was like, oh yeah, this girl I know, she got criminal charges because she hit somebody and drove away with her car. And she was like, don't get any criminal charges because that messes with your record. I'm sorry, mama. Lois is like, I might get criminal charges, I guess. Which, like, it's okay. We get them together. Okay, yeah. Honestly, we're probably going to get a minimum of, 4 years or so? And this is when Lois starts to get disgruntled because Lois is the accomplice, right? So she's like,
I'm not getting 4 years.
Yes, you are. You helped.
Dude, that was like, I'm not getting that. I'm not doing that.
Hey, by the time we're gonna be out, we could go to community college together.
yeah, I'm not going to go away for that long. Low-key, probably a good thing you didn't actually end up doing anything because imagine I actually did So it seems like Lois is very disgruntled about the idea of getting that many years. Later, the topic is approached again when Isabel says, my family isn't probably even going to visit me. Man, I don't even fucking care. I'll visit you. Isabel's confused. Huh? I'll visit you. Huh? I'll visit you when I'm out. Before you. Shut up. You're not getting out before me.
What if you could print every idea to life?
How would I get a longer sentence than you? It's redacted, but contextually it feels like Isabel is bringing up the fact that Lois helped sharpen the knife and maybe they told somebody, I don't know. But Isabel is like, dude, they said that they were going to take photos in the bathroom as evidence, dude. Like, I don't know what they're going to fucking take, though. Like, it was the metal pipe. What are they supposed to take there?
Wait, so do we know how many years they are possibly facing?
Oh, yeah, like 20.
For both?
Yeah.
Oh, they're treated the same?
Yeah, it's attempted murder, yeah.
So they both got the same charges?
Yeah.
For, are they
Tried as adults.
They're tried as adults.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And they were denied bond or bail. Yeah.
So this conversation was released. What about like any interrogation, any more police?
Not yet. I think that will probably be released later because technically it's an open investigation. So it'll probably come out during the trial. And then if you were to FOIA request it, you'd probably get all of that after the investigation
But
is
they
over.
released this
Yes.
already?
Yes, because they showed it to the judge.
Oh.
Yes. This whole police tape was shown to the judge to be like, you cannot let them out on bail. And that's why it's allowed to be released to the public.
Interesting. I guess I'm really curious to know when is the moment that they realize.
And when they truly flip on each other.
Yeah, or truly realize. I wonder if it's going to happen anytime soon.
It already seems like it because when they were in the court hearing, they are supposed to be separated. They're not supposed to have any contact with each other. The judge has already stated that. However, they won't even like look at each other. And maybe they won't look at each other because their attorneys were like, don't fucking look at each other. Or they don't like each other.
Yeah.
Which I would imagine because these are very flimsy friendships that they've formed on the basis of what? They're both dumb and idiotic.
Yeah.
And when they're talking about how at least they're not school shooters because that would get them life in prison, Isabel asks Lois almost nervously, well, how long am I going to get? I'm not going to get much time. And again, later Lois brings it up again, and I think Isabel doesn't like these mentions because Lois mentions, I'm probably not going to my involvement's not that long, so I'll be out before you. I'm probably not going to get life in jail because my parents are going to give me the best lawyers they can. And the police finally interject, and they ask...
This is the first time they jumped in?
Young lady, what's your name?
Which one?
Isabel Valdez.
Isabel what?
Valdez.
And yours, young lady?
Lois Lippert.
It's very clear the officers are listening to everything. And I also think that asking for their names was a good idea. I don't know if it would fly in court, but it's a good idea in the sense of these kids can't later say, oh, I was in a fucking state of psychosis. This was like shared psychosis. We're losing our minds. It's like, tell me your name. Tell me your date of birth. Okay, you're clearly in somewhat of a right state of mind because the types of things they were saying, maybe a defense attorney would later say, yeah, they were role-playing Columbine. They were in a state of psychosis.
Yeah. And the fact that in the middle of the conversation, he decided to ask for their name when he already has their name.
Of course, they're in the back of the police car. They've been arrested. Yeah, he knows their names. Yeah.
Whoa.
So I think everything is very intentional at this point. And it's very clear he's listening to everything. Because at one point, Isabel, later on, Isabel is talking in depth about, I kind of need a fart. Lois is like, please don't. Dude, I just keep needing to take a shit over there. And I was so embarrassed because they kept on coming into the stall with me. And when I sat down, I felt like I had to shit. And I felt like it was going to come out because I had diarrhea. And I still have it. And then it's silence. And the officer butts in, don't mess up my seat, please. You'll be out here cleaning it up. Oh, no, thank you. So Isabel's like, okay, I'm not going to diarrhea. Oh, no, thank you.
Don't mess up my seat, please.
We get
you out here cleaning it up.
Oh, no, thank you.
Dude, I used to have to clean... This is Isabel. I used to have to clean up my siblings' shit because my mom would be sleeping and my sister would literally take off her diaper and she would put it all over her bed. Ooh! Dude, I think there was like a year or two that she was like... My mom was cooking or while she was doing something, she would take her diaper off and she would pee on her bed. She would literally spread her legs open on her bed and pee. Ooh! Your siblings are wildin'. I know. My brother keeps on humping everything now. My mom tells him to stop and he just keeps on doing it. And then he goes into my closet because I sleep with my sister. I think I told you, right? He goes into my closet and he puts on my sister's bathing suit. So I don't know. I think this seems like the point where some people feel there might be a lot more going on in Isabel's life, clearly, because both the girls seem to be struggling a lot mentally. Again, not that it's justification for anything, but these are very specific stories she's sharing. Then later, Lois mentions that she has to pee so bad, to which Isabel tells her that the police officers aren't going to let her use the restroom when they get to the police station, to which Lois is like,
dude, I have to do the bathroom. I pissed myself. They gotta clean that up.
And Isabel says, my mouth is right here. There's a lot of overtly sexual comments being made. Lois later again mentions, I did not expect them to let us go into the same car and shit. Can't complain. Yeah, I'm not complaining at all. So much better than having to stare off into the distance and think of all your regrets. And then Lois says, I'm actually gonna piss myself. I can't laugh anymore. Yuck. It's bad. I've been holding it in for like an hour. You've been horny for an hour? No, Oh, is it because I'm here? Later, Lois is complaining about how her strap keeps hanging off her shoulder, and Isabel offers, I'll pull it up with my teeth.
I'll pull it up with my teeth.
Just their entire demeanor in the car is, it's going to be a defense attorney's nightmare. At one point, the both of them are talking about how the comfort level of this car ride compares to the last time they were in a police car. It's like they're giving it Uber car ride ratings. Isabel says, dude, last time, they didn't even put me in handcuffs. They just said, hey, let me take my stuff too. I was able to take some of my little ponies, my plush, and my phone, but then they took my phone away. They took all my stuff away because they were like, you can't have this in here. So I was like, okay, whatever. They are both charged with attempted murder and possessing a weapon on school property, and they will both be tried as adults. During their court hearing, they don't nearly look as giggly or as quirky as they did in the back of the police car. They were both present but separated during the hearing. Their parents were there. Lois's parents pleaded with the judge that if Lois is released out on bail, she would not be able to have any access to her electronics. She will be closely monitored. The prosecutors argue.
So did the parents get Lois the best attorney that she claim that they're going to get her?
Does not seem like it. I think probably the best that they could, but I don't think Lois's parents are pulling in Brian Steele, I don't think they're...
Yeah.
Which is
But they are
odd.
in the same jail.
Yes.
Interesting. So they can talk to each other freely then?
No, they cannot.
Oh, they cannot.
Yeah,
They
they're
cannot.
not allowed to be near each other. They're not allowed to communicate with one another. Yeah.
I see.
Now, the prosecutors argued that the young ladies exhibit callous nature, sociopathic attitudes. They say that the concept of murdering another person to resurrect a school shooter is unfathomable. And they show the judge the police car footage to argue that they cannot be released out on bail. The judge states that their clear lack of remorse proved that they were a danger to society. She says,
I don't think there's anything that I could do that would keep the community safe. And it's clearly a dangerous crime. All the elements, I think, have been met. The video that I watched, they thought this was cute. I don't want her on the internet talking to other young folks about this. It's too dangerous.
And so for that reason, I think that there's a real risk to the community that I just can't fix. And both of them were denied bail.
Yeah,
Yeah, they would probably go back on Tumblr and Twitter and say a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
The 15-year-old boy's mother has done an interview, and she's asked,
to know that the allegations of two girls plotting, the allegations of them wanting to hurt and kill your baby, your son, as a mom.
I was destroyed. I still am. It's never going to be the same. I've broken down a lot. I still break down at work.
By the way, she works at the school. So yeah, she says, I still haven't been sleeping well. I haven't been eating, and I've been waking up on high alert, like 2-3 times a night. As for her son, she says, he's so brave. He's so brave and smart and talented. And the hero of the story is the tipster. And that person is the hero of my life. And I've told them that. If the tipster hadn't made that notification, do you think your son would still be alive?
I think that we would be in a very different no.
To make matters worse, like I said, she works in that school, and she walks by the school bathroom where Isabel and Lois allegedly planned on killing her son every day. Isabel has since written a letter to the judge, which reads, Dear Judge Chase, first of all, I want to say that I'm very remorseful for my actions. Being away from everything, isolated from people, the internet, just everything, changed my perspective on life. Growing up, I was exposed to the internet at a very young age, and all of that was bad that stemmed from it. The internet made me a horrible, horrible person. I was groomed and assaulted multiple times growing up by people my own age and people older than me. I've always denied anything happening because I've always felt like expressing this to anyone made me weak. Sometimes I still do. My own parents don't even know about it. I was also bullied growing up very severely, that I had been wanting to self-exit since I was 7. I never expressed this feeling because I felt like others would not take me seriously since I was so young. I spoke out on the bullying.
PetSmart Charities and Hill's Science Diet invite you to join us for National Adoption Week and give a pet a new, loving home. Pet adoption starts here.
But no one paid attention to whatever I said, even if my parents spoke out. My parents and my family tried to help me growing up, but I never accepted it for some reason. I don't know why, but I always thought that they were against me. I wanted help, but I wouldn't accept it when it came. Later on, this just changed into thoughts of, quote, I could never be loved. My parents tried their hardest, and they wanted to give me a better life than they ever had. They're still trying their hardest, trying to get me home. Around the age of 10, I found joy in hurting those that hurt me, which I don't anymore. And around 12, I just enjoyed hurting others. But around 12, I fell into a very, very deep depression. She talks about how in 2024, she was getting better because she was placed on a psychiatric hold. And then in 2025, she relapsed. And quote, around the same time, I had met Lois Lippert, my co-defendant, and we both got worse together. I ask and pray that you have sympathy and compassion on her. In 2022, 2023, I joined this group called TCC, which also had affected me greatly. This group, they all promoted violence. I felt seen there, but in reality, it was deteriorating me. I got groomed in this community. She explains that she joked around about killing John with Lois, but later, because they were both in such bad mental states, they thought it was okay. Now, to explain about John, I used to like him a lot because he reminded me of a shooter I liked, which I no longer do. I have multiple forms of anxiety, so I never spoke to him in fear of getting rejected. So I started following him around, which I'm deeply sorry about now. When I was detained, I started acting recklessly and edgy. I made everything worse than it was because I wanted help. I wanted to paint myself as more insane so I could be sent to some place where I could get help, but obviously it didn't work. As I've been here, I've been thinking about my life and my choices, and please ask you to please have sympathy on me, for I want to change, and I'm changing as a person. I'm not the same girl I was 3 months ago. I think it's a very conflicting feeling because a lot of netizens feel that at 15, you definitely know better. I mean, I think a lot of us can think back to when we were 15 and none of us had any sort of glorification of school shooters wanting to resurrect somebody from the dead, let alone Adam Lanza of all people, and then trying to kill a classmate, bringing a knife to school. Like, these are all very extreme thoughts. But I guess people are open to perhaps listening to Isabel's life story, but they also don't think that that's any excuse. Yeah. It's just a way to understand her actions and hopefully prevent other kids from going through the same experiences and acting out in the same way. And I don't mean to say acting out to diminish the gravity of what they were planning on doing, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, the tipster also saved their life.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, yeah. And I do think that some netizens have an annoyance with this and the letter in general and any sympathy towards the two girls, because it's almost become this weird thing where people in the TCC community think that being bullied is an excuse to kill people. Like, it gives you sympathy points. And it's like, do you know how many people have been bullied growing up? It doesn't give you the right to make grave, quote unquote, mistakes in the form of taking someone else's life. So it's like, yes, okay, maybe she had a rough life, but she was also planning on killing an innocent classmate who did nothing wrong. Not that even that would warrant anything, but just because he looked like someone that she idolizes, that is a vile person to begin with. So I think that there's this pushback of people being like, no, you know, I was bullied. I'm not fucking going around trying to resurrect people. That is where the case is right now, with netizens commenting, what the fuck? How did they even come up with this? Others are commenting, the conversation in the back of the car is so casual. Others are saying they're laughing as a defense mechanism for being arrested. They're coping with it by laughing it off. It's likely how they respond to any other situation in which they're caught for doing anything else that's wrong, or when they're being laughed at themselves or being excluded, humiliated, bullied, whatever. As a teacher, I recognize the same behavior in students who know that they're going to bomb a test or don't do their homework or otherwise get called out. They'll announce it loudly, like, man, I'm about to fail. This test's so bad, or something like that. It's all about saving face, and the behavior becomes so ingrained that it becomes the default. They can't be seen to ever take anything seriously about anything that others take seriously, because it's the only way for them to win in so many situations that they repeatedly lose. I don't say this as an excuse for them, but yeah, I totally recognize those laughs. And others say they always laugh when they first get caught, but then they cry when the guilty verdict is read out. Others are just commenting, yeah, these kids definitely grew up on Discord. Others are saying, you dropped your crown, queen, and it's just like a dumpster lid. Always the weird looking ones. These are comments. Anyone who works in, near, or is friends with someone in schools understands this is not shocking. And about her Sandy Hook obsession, one person writes, what a weird obsession. I mean, you could have done something productive with your passion, like volunteer to help those affected by gun violence, but instead you did this? Shame on you. Others are upset about Fox Fever, saying, I refuse to believe she's Fox Fever. I love their art so much.
She's famous?
In the community that loves Zero Day. And then another comment states, she suffered from extreme mental illnesses. All the adults in her life failed her. She had a Twitter account dedicated to having an ED where she would post pictures of her throwing up into the toilet bowl after. Like, I feel bad. Others say, I'm not even mad. I'm sad these girls need help badly. How did they even get to this point mentally without someone intervening is heartbreaking. Heartbreak emoji. You can tell they have no idea the big picture of what they just did. Others are on the complete opposite side, writing death penalty to these ugly weirdos, which is a bit extreme. Another one writes, they're teenagers, their brains aren't fully formed, and they'll just go along with just about anything to fit in. My guess is one of them had deep-seated issues and mostly pushed the idea forward, and the other one has issues of her own, but just mainly went along with it. To which someone responds, okay, but they still sound way less sane than most teenagers. But also, there's just really alarming comments, like, about the girls who wanted to kill that boy to revive Adam. If I saw a dude who looked just like Adam, I'd want to date him. Like, no need to kill him, for real. So that is where I leave you with this case. I will let you know if there's any updates with any of the future court hearings and the pending trial if they plead not guilty, or if they're not going to get a plea deal. What are your thoughts on this case? Yeah, let me know in the comments. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.
First name Neil, last name Quintana, Neil Quintana. Thank you.
This is one that safe shop.
Hey, Brittany, do you know where Rebecca is? No. I'm gonna go stand out here.
You guys need to turn it down more.
Sorry, no. Mine's already.
Isabel? Yeah. You do me a favor, you gotta stand up, put your hands behind your back. Just gonna tighten these just a little bit, okay? Don't move. You start twisting your hands, it'll get real tight on you. Okay, so just leave your hands to You alright?
Yeah.
You need me to loosen it? Which one?
No, it's okay. It's just I gotta like stab in the back of the thing.
Okay. Alright. Just come on out this way.
I think we're going down.
Out this way?
Yeah,
Towards
because
the...
that way, it gets you out to the...
Okay, so we're waiting for the other. I'm just going to bring them both at the same time.
There are 3 victims we know of. The suspect is female, white, late 20s.
You have no idea who you're dealing with. You are gonna end up dead.
Join Planet Fitness for $1 down and get up to 3 free months of Apple Music. No commitment. Deal ends July 31st.
Have they explained what's going on?
He's coming. Yeah, all right.
They haven't explained to you? So unfortunately, you are under arrest. You're being charged.
2 minutes report by.
At the stalls or something. You think I'll be able to fix my hair? Or you think I'll be in prison handcuffs for this?
Yeah, still handcuffs.
Really? But don't you gotta put up like that number thing?
I think that's only it shows. So stupid.
Bada bing, bada boo.
15-year-old Eddie is trying to keep his mind together. Honestly, he's trying to get a grip. He is a world kickboxing champion for his age group when he was just 11 years old, for crying out loud. I mean, he's thinking to himself, come on, get it together. So to keep himself busy, I mean, honestly, to keep his mind from falling apart, Eddie goes on a jog. It was more like a sprint at the local park called Linear Park. And he is just plagued by all of these negative thoughts all week. And he just wants to distract himself. Because every second of every single day for the past 7 days, his eyes are glued to his phone nonstop. He's just waiting. Essentially, it's almost Valentine's Day. He's 15 and the girl that he likes still has not texted him, and it's driving him mad. I mean, what does it mean? Eddie comes home from his jog. He changes out of his soiled clothes and he starts Googling on his computer how to combat anxiety. All the while, he's checking his phone nonstop. He's tapping on the screen just to see if he missed a notification. He's checking the button on the side to make sure it's not on silent mode. Ding! Eddie rushes to click open his messages. It's not her. It's an old classmate of his named Scarlett. She texts, "My brother just told me not to go anywhere near Linear Park because a woman got stabbed there." Eddie's fingers hover over the keyboard. Jesus, really? Yeah, they say it's murder. Holy crap. Eddie puts his phone down and he lets the news sink in. Somebody was murdered at the very park that he had just been to. When the realization of that hit, Eddie would do two things. One, he would hide the 5-inch knife in his room that was covered in blood. And two, he would never speak again. We would like to thank today's sponsors who have made it possible for Rotten Mango to support both the Point Foundation and Peace in Mind. The Point Foundation is America's largest scholarship-granting nonprofit organization for post-grade school LGBTQ students. Peace in Mind is an England and Wales-based fundraiser started by Brianna Jai's mother of today's case, Esther Jai. Now, in remembrance of their daughter, she has teamed up with Mindfulness in Schools Project, who provides curriculum for students and training for teachers with the sole focus of bringing mindfulness into the public grade school community. This episode's partnerships have also made it possible to support Rotten Mango's growing team of dedicated researchers and translators, and we would also like to thank you guys, our listeners, for your continued support as we work on our mission to be worthy advocates of these causes. Now, as always, full show notes are available at rottenmangopodcast.com. Before we get into today's case, though, I do want to note some very important disclaimers. Today's case revolves around a hate crime committed against a young member of the LGBTQIA+ community. Brianna Jai was targeted in part because she was transgender. So if this is a topic that is very difficult to listen to, please go take care of yourself, get some rest. I'll see you in the next one. Now, with that being said, I want to make it explicitly clear that Brianna's pronouns have been and still are she, her. However, there will be moments in this episode where I read to you text message evidence where a killer does not use her proper pronouns. I think if I were to fix the incorrect pronoun usage, it would no longer really even be considered evidence, some of the text messages. I think the only way to highlight the cruelty behind the motive of the murder is to keep them as they are. So I will be reading them verbatim, especially because this person, the killer, Eddie Radcliffe, is trying to appeal his sentence. So hopefully this is a reminder of what kind of person he is and what he did. So with that being said, let's get into it. The new transfer at Birchwood Community High School was a little weird. I mean, yeah, she had an obsession with eyeballs. It was kind of like this unspoken rule amongst all of her peers. Don't look her in the eye. Like if you're passing her in the hallway, if you glance up from your desk in class and she's looking at you, don't look her directly in the eye. There was just something not right about her eyes. I mean, don't get me wrong. They're beautiful. They're totally fine. Everything's okay. But she just had this weird thing with staring. You know how you can tell when somebody is watching you? Well, students would look up and from across the cafeteria, there would just be a set of deep blue eyes staring directly at them. It felt like she was peering into their souls. It was creepy. And she was known for having this little journal that she would carry with her everywhere. If you opened it up to a random page, you would likely see doodles of Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, the serial killer. She thought it was particularly fascinating that Richard Ramirez had gouged out one of his victims' eyeballs and placed them in his jewelry box. The eyeballs were like his souvenir. They were like his trophy. The new girl would go around telling people that she could talk about Richard Ramirez for hours, and the eyeballs that he took, she could talk about it for days. She was weird, but she only stayed for 10 weeks. Within 10 weeks, the new transfer's locker would be cleaned out, her desk would be emptied, and the administrators put the school on lockdown. Nobody was allowed to talk about the new girl anymore. But in the hallways, while the teachers weren't listening, the students would huddle together and whisper, "Did you hear what happened to her? I heard she's friends with Eddie Radcliffe." 15-year-old Eddie Radcliffe is standing in court. He hasn't said a single word to the judge since the trial started. He won't talk. Instead, he stands up and he holds up a sign above his head. It reads, "Not guilty." Eddie Radcliffe was pleading not guilty to the murder of 16-year-old Brianna Jai, a transgender high school student that he had at a local park stabbed her and left her for dead. There was a text message read out in court that Eddie sent to a friend just before the murder. The text read, "I wanted to see if it would scream like a boy or girl." And another text would read, "I wanted to know what size body part it had."
And he's a holding sign saying not guilty.
Exactly. So, I mean, it was pretty rare for Brianna to leave the house, but when she did, she always let her mom know. So Brianna's doorbell camera catches her leaving the house on February 11th, 2023, around 12:45 p.m. And just from looking at Brianna, I mean, she seems to kind of give the gray, gloomy weather some color. Her red hair, it's pinned straight down to her waist, and it's like radiant, it's popping. And she's wearing this fluffy white coat that matches her white knee-high socks. She's got this pink and white checkered bag, and even her phone case is pink. Now, as she walks and opens the gate to the sidewalk, she sends a message to her mom. "Dogs are locked up. Gonna go meet a friend." Brianna likely felt like she's on some sort of mission. I mean, she's following the instructions clearly, but it just felt tedious and it didn't make any sense. She had to walk 25 minutes to the bus station, even though there's a bus station 3 minutes away from her house. She was told to walk 25 minutes to a different one. Then she had to wait another 30 minutes at that bus station before number 28 bus pulls up. The bus is fairly empty. Only about 8 people are on board. She pays for her ticket and then she sits down through this 15-minute bus ride on a route that's going to drive past her house.
So she went further and then you drove back.
Yeah. So she went 25 minutes into direction A, but she's trying to get to direction B.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't make any sense. I mean, what was this all for? You can tell by the CCTV footage that Brianna's a little bit nervous. She's texting on her pink cell phone and she's giving a rundown of the whole day to her best friend, Amelia. Brianna is very anxious. She's never rode the bus alone, let alone from a bus station 25 minutes from her house. So she's quickly sitting down in the seat closest to the bus driver, closest to the front doors, like the safest seat. And she puts her little bag on her lap and she texts Amelia, her comfort person. And she's joking to Amelia that the bus is driving so wonky, like side to side, it's going to tip over before she even makes it to her destination. She's feeling really anxious about this. At 1:41 p.m., as the bus drives past her house, Brianna texts her mom, "I'm on the bus by myself. I'm scared." And her mom texts, "Oh, well, that's good." And then hugs. So even from that one text, Brianna could tell that her mom was very proud of her. She's taking these big steps to confront that anxiety head on that day. She could practically hear her mom being like, "This is a big breakthrough. This is really good." And honestly, it kind of was. I mean, she bought a bus ticket by herself. She boarded the bus by herself. And now she's going to go meet a friend all on her own. I mean, honestly, this is a pretty big deal. But it would be the last exchange ever between Brianna and her mother. Brianna would have little more than 2 hours left to live. She would be found dead with injuries to her back, her chest, her head, and with a total of 28 stab wounds. Her pink blood-stained phone would be found in a drain, reportedly lighting up with messages from her friends. They would read, "Girl, where are you?" And another one would read, "Girl, is everything okay? Some teenage girl got killed near Linear Park. It's on the news everywhere." Most of Brianna's friends remember vividly, maybe too vividly, where they were and what they were doing on February 11th. It was the day that Brianna was taken from them, so it's very hard to forget. 15-year-old Scarlett, she grabbed her phone and she started tapping away. She's texting a ton of her friends that live nearby. "My brother just told me not to go to Linear Park because a woman got stabbed." The text message seemed calm, but honestly, Scarlett was freaking out. She's texting everybody she knows, trying to check up on them. I mean, the park is so close to her house. Everybody in this part of town went to that park. It is the place to go. Her parents had just been at that park with their dog. I mean, she had just been there not too long ago. It's like everybody she knew had been at that park. Scarlett turns off her Minecraft game and starts her Google searching. Linear Park murder. Colchith Linear Park. Birchwood woman stabbing. Woman stabbed in park. Scarlett pauses on a headline, reading it carefully, double checking. Woman involved in Linear Park stabbing is alive and taken to hospital in air ambulance. She starts sending the articles to all her friends. They're alive. They're alive. Whoever it is alive. Another reply comes in. No, the police just confirmed the death of the woman found with serious injuries. Scarlett just stares at her phone. I mean, she's not really sure what to say. So she just hesitates and types back, okay, when do you think they'll find out a name? And then she goes right back to her Google search. In the middle of her investigations, she gets a reply from a friend. Jesus, really? And she quickly responds, they say it's murder. And he responds, holy crap. Scarlett goes back through her searching, but there's just something that's bothering her. All of her friends, except one, she's heard from. But maybe that's not that big of a deal, right? I mean, she did say that she was going to go meet a boy from Manchester. But just in case, Scarlett texted her friend Brianna, girl, is everything okay? Scarlett likely thought if Brianna doesn't respond, she could at least go check up on her. You know, they don't live that far away. Meanwhile, Brianna's best friend Amelia lived 3 hours away, and she just opened one eye. She was feeling so drowsy all day, and she's contemplating, should I go back to sleep and nap some more? But instead, she rolls over, she grabs her phone, and she's smiling, and she's going to text Brianna back. But, you know, because Brianna has been so anxious about riding the bus earlier that day, but she, you know, hopefully had a safe journey, and Amelia was excited to ask her about it because they're basically sisters. Even though they never physically met in person yet, they talked on the phone every single day, like hours a day. They would get ready on FaceTime. They would tell each other all of their secrets. They even planned to rent an apartment together after they graduated high school.
So Scarlett was texting
Eddie,
right?
Yes.
And Scarlett also was texting Brianna, and Brianna didn't respond.
Brianna's not responding. Scarlett's
Right.
texting everybody because, you know, when you're in high school and you find out that someone got stabbed at a place that you all frequent, I mean, she's just spreading the news.
Yeah.
Everybody's texting everyone at this point. But Brianna is the only one not responding to her. And it's making her really anxious.
Right.
Same with Amelia. Amelia doesn't really know what's happened at the park because she lives 3 hours away. But this is her best friend. And she hasn't responded. Last she heard from Brianna, she was on a bus by herself. She was anxious, nervous, and then she got off at the bus stop. And we don't know really what's going on. They were going to meet later this year. So Amelia was like counting down the days for when she was finally going to meet Brianna in person. But right now she's counting down the seconds. Why isn't Brianna texting her back? It had been like 8 hours since they last texted. They never went this long without texting.
Has she heard about the news?
No.
Okay.
So Amelia sends another follow-up text. She's worried, but she's trying not to sound paranoid. And she's thinking it's probably nothing. Maybe she's also taking a nap. To lighten her anxiety, Amelia texts jokingly, girl, you better not be dead. Amelia, like the rest of the world, would not find out the truth until later. At 6:25 the following evening, Scarlett chooses her favorite photo of Brianna to upload to her Snapchat. In the photo, Brianna is wearing a brown striped sweater, her trademark round glasses, and she's holding like this half-eaten candy bar and she's smiling at the camera. Scarlett writes, rest in peace. Brianna was one of the best people I have ever met and such an amazing friend. It is so sickening what got done to her. It is absolutely sickening. There's a lot of information that you can gain about a person through their eye contact or their lack thereof. So it may vary across different cultures, but in the United States, it is the norm to make regular eye contact with the person that you're speaking with to show them that you're interested in what they're saying. If someone is never quite meeting your eye when they're talking to you, you might find them to be distrustful. You might at least think that they're maybe a little bit socially awkward. You're going to think something. Or if someone holds your gaze for too long, if the eye contact is too long, too frequent, it's a different kind of unsettling. I mean, it's such a subtle thing that humans subconsciously pick up on. There is no rule book. It's just a matter of seconds. When someone holds eye contact for too little or too long, our brains register, oh my God, something is weird. So then, is there a correct amount of time to hold someone's eye contact? Actually, apparently there is. Research has revealed that the average preferred duration for eye contact is about 3.3 seconds. Now, you have about like a 0.5 to a full second grace period. So as long as you're anywhere between like the 2 to 4 seconds of eye contact, you'll be fine.
That is very true. Now you think about it, like more doesn't mean better.
No,
like,
and it's so, we don't even have like a set timer in our bodies. We just kind of know.
Yeah. You just look
It's
away.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
and
so interesting.
Everybody has similar timelines for that.
Yeah.
It doesn't like drastically change per person. It's very interesting. Now, Catherine Weiss made eye contact with a ton of people on February 11th, 2023. Now, it's a little damp that afternoon, but Catherine and her husband, they're walking their dogs in the local park called Linear Park. I mean, it's called like a gem of a dog walk. The locals called it that. They love walking their dogs there. Now, the couple, they pass by and smile politely at dozens of other people jogging, walking their dogs, biking, playing with their friends. I mean, it's not a quiet time at the park. But the park is interesting because it never feels overcrowded, even though there's a ton of people. Interestingly enough, the park was actually built on abandoned railway lines. So the paths would diverge, they'd come together. There's steps and benches just placed randomly around the park. There's partially hidden wooded areas. It would probably be a very sinister place at 3 a.m, but it's pretty peaceful and private during the day. It's very busy, but it's also very secluded all at once. So if you go to the main areas, there's so much action. But if you kind of travel off the broken path, it can get very secluded very quickly. But as the Weiss couple turn the corner, they see in front of them a young man hunched over, putting a leash on his fluffy white dog. They take a step forward, ready to continue their little walk. But this one step is enough for them to notice that the way that the afternoon sunlight is reflecting off the leash, that it's not a leash. It's a knife.
What?
Another step forward and their eyes travel downward and they realize that is not a dog. It is a girl wearing a fluffy white coat.
They just walked into...
Yes. And she's covered in blood. Suddenly, the man that's hunched over stands upright. He makes eye contact with them briefly. It's so quick. The eye contact is like 2 seconds, not even, maybe like a half a second. Catherine's not even sure if their eyes really met. And he quickly pulls his hood up to hide his face away, and then he starts stumbling away. He starts running off. That's when another figure stands up over the lifeless body on the ground. And this one is smaller than the first. And she catches Catherine's attention. It's a high school girl. She just looks so out of place in this wild scene. I mean, she looks like she should be at school. She looks like she should be at the mall with her friends or playing Monopoly at home. And her eyes slowly meet Catherine's. And the girl doesn't look scared. The girl doesn't look shocked. Her face is blank. I mean, it's free of any emotion. She's just staring, unblinking. I mean, her eyes are wide. She's got this heavy, dark makeup around them. Catherine wants to look away, but her brain is not even registering what she's looking at, or even who she's looking at and what's going on. But there is just something about this girl's deep blue irises that keep her from pulling away. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi, 7 Mississippi, 8 Mississippi. 8 full seconds.
They just stood there for 8 seconds?
8 seconds, staring at each other, frozen. And the girl doesn't even look scared. She doesn't look shocked. She's just staring at her while standing over a lifeless body. Those might have been the longest 8 seconds of Catherine's life. It was long enough for even Eddie, who had fled the scene immediately, to notice that he was running away by himself. He turned around and he saw his accomplice standing near the couple. What the hell is she doing? Why is Scarlett not coming? In the UK, there's a game called Knock Knock Ginger. I don't know why they call it that, but it's a game that we're all pretty familiar with to some extent. So it's called Ding Dong Ditch in America. The rules of the games follow. Step 1, find the target house. The only condition is the resident must be home. Step 2, you sneak to their front door and you ring the bell. Step 3, before the door opens, you run and you hide. The objective being that the resident's going to open the door, see that nobody's there, they're going to look around very confused, and you're going to be giggling to yourself in the little bushes. Residents of Birchwood were used to getting ding-dong ditched. It's a small town. I mean, the high schoolers, they don't really have a long list of fun activities that they can indulge in at night, so they go knock knock ginger or ding-dong ditch. One resident, late one night, gets a knock at their front door. They walk over and they look through the peephole. Nothing. It's just dark outside. They're like, this is strange. I mean, I could have sworn that I heard someone knocking on the door. So they turn the lock, grab the handle, swing open the door, and the resident freezes. It's like a cold wind just came into their house. It's so unsettling. It's so unnerving. That is not how you're supposed to play Ding Dong Ditch. Because there on the street, standing there in the dark with nothing but the streetlight illuminating her, is a girl. She's just staring at the resident. She's not hiding. She's just like Chucky. She's just standing on the street staring directly at the resident.
You mean like she's not standing in front of the door?
No.
But all the way back on the street?
On the street, so past the driveway.
Okay, that's creepy.
Exactly. You're supposed to hide and it's supposed to be hee, the resident doesn't know who did it. She's just staring at the resident. That's not how you play Ding Dong Ditch. That was Scarlett's favorite way to play, though.
Oh, that is her game.
That's her game.
Oh, that's crazy. Like she's trying to intimidate and freak out the people.
Exactly. Now, have you heard of what seatbelting is? It's a form of abusive bullying where someone grabs your backpack straps from the front and yanks them all the way down to the ground until you fall. It causes you to not only fall, but it forms these really intense rug burns under your underarms if they pull too hard from all the force. Brianna is sitting in the school's inclusion unit. It's like a class dedicated to helping students who need extra support or students who are about to get suspended. It's such an odd mix of students in there, I'm not going to lie. I mean, some students are placed in the inclusion unit for having behavioral issues, like displaying aggression and having tendencies of violence. Like they're about to get suspended from school. That's why they're in that unit. And then other students are there because they're very socially anxious and they're nervous to be in a full classroom. Like, I'm sure it's different by school and case-by-case basis, but ultimately, you could end up with the biggest bullies in the school who are incredibly aggressive, and then you could end up with all the socially anxious, more timid students in the school who need a safe space, all in the inclusion unit. It's just kind of odd.
It's kind of...
Yeah. Now, Brianna is there because the school administrators thought that she was too socially anxious. She wasn't as active or outgoing and loud as they wanted her to be. And it's believed that Brianna was seatbelted and beaten by a gang of school children. It's alleged that the kids would throw bottles at her, call her names. And if that's true, I mean, yeah, I would be socially anxious too. I mean, I think anybody would be. But one day, a new girl, a new transfer from a different school, walks into the inclusion study and sits down right next to Brianna. She's got a stack of journals and pink gel pens and these deep blue striking eyes. And she looks at Brianna, leans over and says, "I like your eyeliner." Brianna smiled. That night, Scarlett would go home to text a friend from her old school, Walmart John Wick. Yeah, that's the name on her phone. I mean, well, in the UK, she had him under Tesco John Wick, but it's kind of like saying Walmart John Wick. And if you don't know, John Wick is the movie series of an ex-hitman. But his real name, Walmart John Wick, is Eddie Radcliffe. She would text him, "I'm obsessed over someone I know, but I don't have feelings for them. She's called Brianna, and I don't know how to explain it. Also, she has a DICK. LOL." That's what she texted.
What?
Very interesting. Now, a little bit about Brianna. I mean, I think the best way to sum it up is her childhood is why would you have a black PlayStation controller when you can have a pink one? Like, it's not only a very valid question, but it's a very good question. Brianna was putting another coat of pink nail polish onto her PlayStation controller. And it's a whole process, you know, because you have to wait for the paint to dry and then add another coat. And then you don't want to get it into like the crevices or get it too thick with the polish. And then the polish has got to be soft. But it's worth it because everything in Brianna's room had to be pink. Like, it's a non-negotiable. Her fluffy eye masks, her bags, her clothes, her bed sheets, everything is pink. She would even ask her mom, Esther, like, when I turn 18, can you buy me a pink car? Brianna was getting bullied at school, but when she came home, she tried her best to be uplifting. She would post these TikToks of herself getting ready for school. She would make her uniform cuter by pairing it with like these cute blazers or the knee-high socks or headbands. And she would always put these pink little bows in her red waist-length mermaid-looking hair. And she would lip sync to these very popular songs on TikTok. Brianna actually managed to build a tight-knit community on TikTok. She made a lot of friends on there. She found a lot of safety and familiarity in the online transgender communities, but she also contributed heavily to it. She would talk to online friends that she's never met before and help them with everything that they're going through. I mean, she knows how hard it is to be transgender, and to even the potential of making it 1% easier for someone else to go through the same thing that she went through. She was going to spend all day helping them. She would help them find doctors in their area. She would try talking to them about embracing their style. She would give insight on hormone treatments. That was her mission, just to make people happy. One of the toughest experiences to go through is, they say, it's to be someone's strength when you're at your weakest. And it seems like that's what Brianna did every day. A friend of Brianna said, I mean, it's very obvious that she was struggling with mental health and being bullied online and in real life. You know, there's no denying that. But she kept going, and it didn't ever stop her from doing anything. After school, Brianna would go on her phone and see all the people that needed her support. And she would be that support. She would FaceTime her friends and she would practice gymnastics on FaceTime. Like, she would do those backflips in her pink room. And every time she would fall flat on her butt, she and her friends would just start bust out laughing. Or if she noticed that one of her friends wasn't having a good day, she would try to FaceTime them and do all these silly little things to just try and make them laugh. Instead of drinking apple juice, because she would have like apple juice in a cup, she would pour them into little shot glasses and pretend to take shots of them. I mean, just so she could get a smile out of a friend who really just didn't feel like smiling that day. That was her goal. That's her ultimate plan. And the minute that she would get a smile out of you, she'd make you sit down and you would be her guinea pig for a new makeup look that she's trying. But I imagine that it would be very hard to say no to someone like Brianna. She is the friend, they say, that would spontaneously decide to go to the market in her Barbie pink pajamas to buy hair dye and then start dyeing her hair a completely new color at 3 a.m. on a school night. Like, that's the amount of fun and life that she had. Brianna also never took the easy way out. From never having met her, from what I can just gather online, reading about what everybody said about her, it feels like she was someone that faced everything head on. She lived and loved very intensely. And I know that sounds cheesy, but just like, hear me out. She was incredibly vulnerable, but also very fearless at the same time. So for example, she was hospitalized for an eating disorder and she struggled immensely with her relationship with food. But at the same time, her favorite food was Domino's pizza. And so she would always try to face these difficulties and these fears, and she would scream down the stairs, "Mom, can we have Domino's tonight?" And it's like she just wanted to do everything that she could to try and live the way she wanted, no matter what. I mean, she just had this way of pulling people in towards her, and she wasn't really outgoing. She's not really this crazy loud person. She was just actually very anxious and shy, but she had this energy about her that was so contagious that people were naturally drawn to her. One friend of hers said, "She made me feel unstoppable as a trans girl. And she made me feel really pretty because, I don't know, she would never let me put myself down." And it just takes someone really, really special, I think, to be able to do that. And maybe that's what attracted Scarlett to Brianna. Scarlett was absolutely fascinated by Brianna. They would go to McDonald's after school just to hang out and talk. And they both had a lot in common. You know, they both bonded over their anxiety, eating disorders, but also makeup and clothing choices. Scarlett would just stare at Brianna's eyes every time she talked. And there was just something about Brianna that made Scarlett feel a lot of emotions at once. Jealous, excited, obsessed, angry. I mean, she couldn't really quite put her finger on it, but she was obsessed. There were rumors circulating at the high school about the new transfer, Scarlett. People said, yeah, not only is she obsessed with eyeballs, you know she's a Satanist, right? She apparently does these blood rituals, and she's asking some of the others to join her this weekend as she sacrifices a goat. I don't even know what that means. Other students alleged that they saw her post a video on social media. Yeah, it was of herself stabbing a couch with a bloodied knife. I don't know if it's real blood. Others would just say, I don't really like her energy. I mean, she always talks about killing goats, and she likes making a lot of dead baby jokes that just aren't really funny. The nicer students would say, I mean, she's definitely not a normal person, right? But probably the strangest rumor was that Scarlett had to transfer from her old school because she poisoned a classmate. Some of the other students thought it was pushing it a bit too far. They're like, well, that doesn't make sense. We can't just spread rumors like that. What do you mean she poisoned a classmate? If she poisoned a classmate from her old school, wouldn't they expel her? Wouldn't she be in big trouble? How could she just transfer to our school? We don't know if Brianna heard these rumors, but if she did, Brianna was also the type to ignore them. I mean, people spread rumors for all sorts of nasty reasons. Brianna herself had been on the receiving end of these fake, false rumors, and it wouldn't be right for her to treat someone else differently because of these rumors. It just, to her, seemed like a different form of bullying, like there was no truth to it. Esther Jai, Brianna's mom, had just gotten home from work. She puts her work bag down and she hears her youngest daughter screaming for help. So she throws the rest of her stuff down, races up the stairs, taking 2 steps at a time, and she flings open the door to Brianna's room, and Brianna is laying in a fetal position, clutching her stomach, shaking in pain, sobbing. She's crying and she screams, "Mom, I think I'm gonna die." Brianna had struggled with self-harm before, and Esther was likely concerned that Brianna had hurt herself somehow. But Brianna continued to scream and cry, "Help, don't leave me, it hurts." Esther had never seen Brianna like this before. I mean, she had never been a sickly child. Like, this was out of the norm. She notices that Brianna is clutching her stomach, and Esther is flipping through all of the possibilities in her head. I mean, could it be appendicitis, maybe? Apparently, the pain of appendicitis is so intense that it causes people to not even be able to sit up straight because they're in so much pain. Esther pulls out her phone and is about to call an ambulance, but before she can, Brianna grabs her wrist and gets up and throws up all over the floor. Shortly after, Brianna starts feeling much, much better. And Esther is wiping up the vomit, and she notices that there are small specks of red in it. She assumed they were grape skins. Maybe Brianna had gotten ill from eating too many grapes? Or maybe it was like a stomach bug? Because these are the only logical explanations of what happened, right? Too many grapes? Because she's in high school. It's not like someone would poison her. Scarlett texts Eddie a picture of a handful of small red tablets. By the way, do you die from eating these? Because I have a plan if you do. Scarlett had given Brianna a ton of tiny red pills, telling her to take it, telling her it's going to get her high, but she has to take quite a bit of it. Eddie glances at the picture and texts back, "It's dangerous, yes, but I'm not sure how many would be lethal." You know that girl I mentioned? Brianna? I'm still trying to kill her, and the easiest way is a pill overdose, don't you think? Plus, people already know that she's depressed and shit, so nobody would get sus. But for some reason, she's got a high tolerance. Like, I gave her some of these today, and I thought that should have been enough to kill her. Scarlett carried on about her day, feeling a bit frustrated. She was less upbeat than usual. She spent all day checking in on Brianna, periodically asking her about the pills. Did you take them? Did you take them? Ding. Eddie opens his text and he could basically feel Scarlett's excitement through the screen. Brianna's ill. Those tablets I gave her might be slowly killing her.
Scarlett's 15, 16 as well?
15. Wow. It was ibuprofen.
What?
She said it was working. Eddie responds, "Try doubling the dose. That should at least put him in a coma." Misgendering. Scarlett had given Brianna a handful of the ibuprofen, telling her to take it because it's going to get her high. But in reality, she was trying to kill her. This would be the first of 3 attempts on Brianna's life. So Scarlett and Eddie, they're tossing and turning in bed because it just doesn't make sense. I mean, it should have worked. That should have been enough ibuprofen. So they grab their,
I remember earlier you were saying there's a new girl in school, right?
It's Scarlett.
Right. And a week later, she was gone.
10 weeks.
Oh, 10
weeks.
later.
She's only there for 10 weeks.
So 2.5 months.
Yeah.
And this is all unfolding within 2.5 months.
Yeah.
Like multiple attempts.
I mean, most of it starts unfolding like the minute that she meets Brianna. Not necessarily that she's trying to kill Brianna the minute she meets her, but this like weird obsession with her. I wouldn't say it's an obsession in the traditional sense. It's not like she was like, I can't, like I need to stalk her. I need to know her movements everywhere she goes. But it is a very strange relationship she's developing.
Yeah, so the first text you mentioned, it was really odd. She's saying, I'm obsessed with her.
Yeah.
Okay, like when you hear that, you assume like, oh my God, I think I'm in love.
Yeah,
right?
But then later she gets really upset because she thinks that Brianna is prettier than her. So I was having a hard time trying to, I think later at the end of this episode, you're going to start to realize the only answer to all of this could be pure evil and transphobia. Because other than that, it's very hard to unpack everybody's motive in this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So just like hold on to your seats because it gets weirder. It gets more confusing. So they grab their phones from the nightstand and they text each other at night. Eddie, I want something to pour into her drink that's easy to get. Something that's odorless and is going to kill her quickly. For the next hour and a half, Eddie lays in bed researching toxic substances. He sends this. You can buy it at Tesco, the grocery store. It's very dangerous stuff. Scarlett clicks open the photo. Sodium hydroxide? Lye? The stuff that you use to make soap? It would have to be consumed fast enough, though, since it's an acid. You would have to force her to drink it. Unfortunately, I can't find how fast it kills, but I think it kills pretty fast. If you were to drink lye, it would turn your entire insides into literal soap. The lye is basically an acid. It's extremely corrosive. It burns all the way down into the stomach. If you pour flaming gasoline down your throat and then swallow a 6-inch knife afterwards, that's what it would feel like to drink a lot of lye. It's like liquid lava, fire, just going down your throat. You can feel where it is in your body because the minute it touches any part of your insides, your stomach lining, you can feel it. It's going to start dissolving you from the inside out. Scarlett thought the idea was perfect. She could just put it into Brianna's McDonald's milkshake after school. Another text comes in from Scarlett. Eddie opens it up, and this time it's a picture with a pair of scissors and a tissue with blood on it. The message reads, I'm gonna eat human flesh. Eddie smiles. Because Scarlett and Eddie, they have a very unusual relationship. They actually started off despising each other. They were 11 when they first met, so 4 years ago, and they did not get along. Eddie was a world kickboxing champion for 11-year-olds for his age group, and he started training since he was like 9 years old.
Is he actually? Or?
Yeah, he actually is.
Oh.
Yeah. And like typically being good at any sport, it guarantees like high school popularity. But not really for Eddie. Eddie just kind of kept to himself. I mean, to the point where people thought he's like a really weird robot. A weird robot with a mustache. He started growing a full-blown beard when he's like 13 years old. It was a lot. But other than that, he was a top student. He did well in all his subjects. He wanted to go to university to study microbiology. And absolutely nothing would get a rise out of him. At least not at school. I mean, who knows what's going on at home. But at school, I mean, everybody said Eddie was like this emotionless robot. That he didn't even have voice inflections. He would talk like this. He would talk like this, and then this is how he responds to everything. Even if you tell him something wild, he would just respond like this. Everything is monotone. There is no emotion. This is his excited voice. This is his sad voice. This is his bland voice. This is his voice. You would just see him walking around with his dark coat, long hair, never talking to a single person in the hallways, just very quiet. If you were in class and the teacher has their back turned and someone throws a piece of paper at the teacher's head and they start screaming, who did this? You guys tell me right now who did this. I'll wait. If someone points at Eddie, even though it was not Eddie, Eddie would have zero reaction. He wouldn't say, no, that's not me. He would just be like, okay.
Kind of scary.
Yeah, he would study at school, he would study at home, play video games. He just really didn't interact with anyone except Scarlett. And Scarlett at school, she was loud. Do you guys want to sacrifice a goat with me? I'm serious. I'm doing a blood ritual this weekend. I mean, it makes sense that these two hated each other. Scarlett saw Eddie as this weird, socially awkward kid, and Eddie saw Scarlett as this obnoxious, weird kid. They instantly had a strong distaste for one another, but they were always in the same class and in the same groups as each other. The forced proximity made them see each other in a different light. They realized, you know what, maybe we do have a lot in common. Scarlett started texting Eddie almost daily. I'm gonna stab your grandma. I'm gonna f your cat. That's just how Scarlett talked, apparently. Eddie didn't seem to mind it. In fact, he seemed to at least like it to a degree or thought it was humorous. Like it was a side of Scarlett that only Eddie got to see. Interestingly enough, Scarlett had a boyfriend. That's not Eddie. And Eddie has a different girl that he's interested in. Both of which have no idea about these text messages or their dark interests. They do not talk like this with their romantic interests. Scarlett's boyfriend seemed completely in the dark about all the disturbing things that she was into. It said that the two of them actually seemed like every other normal high school couple. They would go to the park and go on walks and take cute Polaroid pictures with each other. And from the outside, they seemed somewhat normal and stable. Except for the fact that Scarlett carved her boyfriend's name into her arm with a knife. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't know really how to dissect these people, but Scarlett is kind of crazy. Scarlett describes Eddie as trustworthy, a sociopath, someone who doesn't have any emotions or at all, has a good sense of humor though, very, very smart, like genius level smart, but socially very awkward, gets anxious a lot. Eddie said about Scarlett that he's not really sure how to describe her personality, but she's definitely not normal. So it looks like they're both on the same page. Neither of their descriptions are glowing reviews of one another. I mean, not really the kind of comments that you would want to hear about yourself. Socially awkward, sociopath, not a normal person. I don't know how to describe her. But Scarlett and Eddie, they thought it worked for them. They just had like the right amount of understanding. They had just the right amount of respect for one another, and it worked. Eddie opens up a message to a text that he got from Scarlett. This one he'd been anticipating. He asked Scarlett for advice on how to ask his crush out. And he felt like, I'm just so awkward. I'm so nervous. I mean, I just need help. He wouldn't even be able to start a conversation with the girl of his interest. Eddie opens up the message and Scarlett texted him. Eddie, there's nothing to worry about. She's not going to think you're weird. Show her that you care for her and give her support. She's going to know and she's going to rely on you and open up to you. He said, well, what if she replies? What do I do then? I mean, I've been trying this for the whole day. Scarlett reassures him that it's all going to be fine. But he knows it's not fine. There's another boy that literally likes the same girl as him, Mark. And if Mark gets to her first, then what is he going to do then? Eddie starts sharing his anxieties with Scarlett, and she reassures him, we could just kill Mark. We could just kill him. Eddie considers it for a moment, and then he responds, you mean cut his heart out and then cook it and feed it to your dog?
That's not what she said.
Yeah.
Okay.
Eddie would text Scarlett, the more you think about killing, the more likely you are to kill someone. I mean, it's hard to say if they knew the other party was exaggerating or lying. One would imagine that the lies were so obvious that there would be no question about it. But maybe they believed each other's lies because it made it easier to believe their own. Eddie and Scarlett, they had their own idea of ideal selves, like visions of who they wanted to be, and they start projecting it onto each other. So the way that I see it, let me try to simplify it, is let's say there's two people. One of them is studying to be a doctor. That's what they go around telling everybody. But you know that they're never actually going to get there because they're not actually ever studying. They're just so busy telling everyone they're studying. They're just saying that they are. And it's like they're more married to the idea of getting the respect of being a doctor or getting the respect of studying to be a doctor than actually wanting to be a doctor. That's one person. The other person is starting their own business, but they have done nothing, like no real work to do anything. All they do is post on Instagram about all their meetings. But what meetings? There's no business. Now, if either of them talk to anybody who knows them, it's going to be the same thing. They're not going to be treated as a doctor or a business owner because they're
If you die even once, it's all gone. So if you're looking for new SMP, join the Discord in the description.
Hello, my name is Noodle, and I am attempting to become a Minecraft YouTuber. Is that gonna become a thing? Who knows, but I would like to join your Minecraft SMP.